There you go. There you go. This is how you do it. And welcome everyone to my Diluc team showcase slash guide. If you wonder about the food buff, don't worry. This damage is easily achievable and even a lot more damage because my team is far from built. And this food buff is just some crit buff, this one right here, to make this a bit better. Alright. Now let's get right into the team and more teams that we have right here. Oh, there we go. So I made a little list with Diluc as your main DPS, possible characters that work really well with him, and I also have an explanation and a team for each of them. And I also have something to tell you guys, and this is about the Xingqiu. Now, lots of people are quite low on Diluc, especially these big YouTubers that are whales, are like, he isn't that good, and then they use him with Xingqiu, and I think he's good with Xingqiu, but he's far, far from the best team with Xingqiu, because obviously he's Hydra, and also it's hard to like deal AoE damage with Xingqiu. You kind of want to melt your entire ultimate, you know, multiple peoples with your ultimate. Kill as many peoples at once with Diluc because his ult has a lot of AoE and so does his E also have quite some AoE. So you want to use that and you want to melt everyone with your ult with the big multipliers, and that's hard to do with Xingqiu. And also um, the thing is he's Hydro and not Cryo. Now you could say, okay, Hydro is still a good reaction, don't get me wrong, but Cryo is obviously the stronger reaction for Pyro characters. And not only that, you would say, okay, it's just a difference of 0.5, right? But it's actually even more, because you have to take into consideration that you always want to use the 4-piece here that improves the damage of Melt and Vape. So the difference is even higher, and you pretty much want to go for a Sucrose or Kozua that will give you Diluc EM, which makes your damage even more. The difference makes it even bigger between Hydra and Cryo. So yeah, that's why my top units are Cryo. And let's get right into it. Uh, the first team. Let's talk about the team I used here. It's probably a bit more of a free-to-play friendly team. This team right here works really well. Also, by the way, these characters are in order, how they work best with Diluc. And also, about this order, I have to tell you something. There are multiple tiers. So, for the healer, there's pretty much Bennett is by far the best option, since he does so much at once, and you really want him because you also get the pyro resonance when you pair him with Diluc instantly, which is also a benefit for them. So there's that. You pretty much always want to use Bennett and not someone. If you can use someone like Diona, but Bennett is just the way to go in my opinion. Then the tiers like these two are the best. Then these three are the second best pretty much. Then these two are the best in this category, and these three are pretty similar in this category. Alright, so now let's get to the team. This one. So this one is really nice because you have quite a good amount of AoE with your Rosario and Sucrose that apply a large amount of AoE with your Cryo. Also, what you want to do with the Rosario is to actually buff your crit rate and then buff your crit rate from your team, so your Diluc can actually build even more crit damage. Plus, you also want to always inflict cryo to Sucrose ult, and that's important because otherwise you won't be able to melt that well with this team, because Rosario's melt application isn't that high. You always want to have the Rosaria and the Sucrose ult on top of each other, and that works pretty easily since Rosaria throws her ult in front of her, and so does Sucrose. She also throws her ult in front of her, which is great. Constellation-wise, Rosaria C2 is great. C1, C2, C6, like they are all so good for Sucrose. All of them are so great. C6 Sucrose is really a powerhouse. Yeah, this is the team that I would run, that I'm running. Now, the best team, pretty much the best team, is this one. This has the highest cryo applicator with Kaya. He has the highest cryo application. The only problem is the uptime on his ult. C2 can help you, and C6 will actually give you more cryo application, but it's also like it's already enough with without C6. I think, like I said, Sucrose works better with Rosaria, and Kozo works better with Kaya. Reason being, Sucrose and Rosaria both throw their ultimates in front of them, and Kaya's ultimate just is a small circle, and Kazuha can actually pull everyone together, so the small circle from Kaya hits everyone, so applies cryo to everyone, and then you can melt everyone, you know? Oh, there's that. These are pretty much the two best teams for Diluc, but now we go over some different teams and when to use Xingqiu and some different teams that I actually want to show you guys. Now Xingqiu, like I said, is suboptimal. But I think if you're early to mid game, go for Xingqiu. Go for him. Because in early to mid game, you won't have that strong Diluc. So the difference between Hydra and Cryo won't be that hard or strong. And Xingqiu has so many places where he can fit in. If you build him now, you can actually, okay, you can build him and then later put him in team 1 and team 2 you have some cryo unit for your Diluc. Xingqiu doesn't really matter that much if you have someone who buffs EM. So you can still go with Zhongli or Albedo or Venti. They're all pretty much similar. So yeah, there's when you should go with Xingqiu if you're more in an early game type of situation. Yeah. Then I've actually one viewer actually recommended me this, or he didn't. He just asked me if this is good, and this is actually pretty nice team comp. And now this one is one of the rare cases you actually have a good synergy with Venti, because Venti, when he pulls everyone up, you can't reach them when you're using Diluc. But this team solves this problem. So first, when you use this team, you know, you inflict pyro to everyone, use your Venti burst, have a pyro inflicted vortex, and then during Venti burst you can't use your Diluc because you won't hit them. But Ganyu can hit everyone AoE and actually make use of her AoE and make use of melt as well to increase her damage also, since the vortex is inflicted by pyro. And then once they fall down, you activate your Ganyu ultimate and then melt with your Diluc everyone, you know? So this and then repeat. So this team actually is one of the cases where Venti works nice. Other than that, the only reason Venti is working well with Diluc is because he works well with pretty much anyone as long as because of his damage is insane and his utility. Now the next team is a Mona team. Now the Mona team, the problem here a bit is that you don't really have that much of Hydra application. You also want to inflict the Hydra on your Sucrosol to have a bit more. And the other problem is you want to vape your Mona burst and you also want to vape your Diluc burst, which can be a bit difficult with the rotations. But if you get it right, you can deal a lot of damage, especially if you vape the Mona burst. Her burst can deal insane amount of damage, like Eula burst type of damage. So this is actually pretty strong as well. And her burst also can buff your team's damage. So this can work as well, really well. Also, one thing I nearly forgot to mention on the Sucrose is this right here. I recommend you to always use Sacrificial Catalyst. The reason being, it gives you so much EM, it's crazy. And also, this catalyst right here can actually ruin your rotations or make it hard to make clean rotations, because you always want to have this buff on your Diluc, and it kind of screws your rotation. So I'd always go for this. It also gives you a third E proc, so you can actually get your Sucrose burst. That is actually quite a lot of energy, a lot faster. So that about Sucrose. Then these two I wouldn't recommend. Ayaka just deals a lot of damage, and if you have C6 Diona, she gives you 200 EM. So these were actually pretty much the teams I wanted to talk about. Make good use of them, build them, and now to inspire you to actually go for a Diluc build. I know I showed you my team's damage, but my team's damage is far from its peak. So I want to show you a little clip here in the end of how a C6 Diluc obliterates the Mogukenkis, the three Mogukenkis. I know C6, it isn't really like comparable to most of us, but I also leave a link down below to a C1 Diluc who also obliterates the Mogukenkis just a bit, pretty much as fast actually as the C6, which is really impressive as well. So you can watch this as well. And yeah, the C1 is also a low spender, so you should be able to reach what he is able to reach. And the C6 also told me that he isn't at his max potential since he doesn't have C2 Kazuha. But yeah, that wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and you will get motivated by this clip now. Peace! これ風の歌全力攻撃だ風邪ひくなよ裁きを受けよ